Yoo-hoo! So, happy Friday. Before I turn on the camera, you guys gotta promise not to judge me. I did something different with my face, okay? I did something a little different. You gotta promise not to judge me, and you gotta say that I look amazing, and you're glad that Milk Bar's here, and that you can gaze upon her wonderful face. Are you ready? Are you ready, guys? One in chat if you're ready. I'm not ready. I'm scared. It's very different, okay? It's very different. Oh man, I'm scared. I'm scared. Oh no. Milkbar 45's terrified, guys. What do I do? What do I do? Okay. Is it terrible? Hi! Happy Milkbar 45 stream day! So beautiful, thank you. I know it's amazing. You know what? I'll make it even better. Why don't I? I'll make it even better. Hold on. I'm making it even better. Oh, I just stretched my whole... I did not mean to do that. Help. I've committed a heinous act. I meant to stretch this part. I've committed a heinous act. Okay. What do we think? What do we think? Oh, dude, what am I doing with my life? Dude, I'm such a chud. How's everyone doing today? How are your days out of 10? I was at work today. Low key. Genuinely. I just screenshot it. Well, thank you. It looks crazy. Why am I'm like warping? Oh, hold on. I'm literally warping. How does it look like that? That's a good question. I really just like stretched my camera an insane amount. I mean, what? I'm not revealing the secrets of my craft. What are you talking about? I don't know, man. What you ate this morning? Good question. You ate too, girl. You ate too. All the screenshots are in the Discord. Hold on. Let me look. Memes for your wonders. Oh, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. That's gotta be an emote, dude. That needs to be an emote. Dude. That's gotta be a new emote. Like, what? Which planet you from? This is what happens when you play Subnautica on stream for too long. This happens. So, just to be aware, don't play Subnautica on stream. I do look like that lizard, though. Why do I look like that lizard? I don't on this camera, but, you know, we're chill. She's from Glorp Glorp Island. Glorp, 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 glorp. What am I doing? That's a very good question. Oh, thank you so much for the raid! Thank you! Hold on, let's dance! Let's dance! you Raiders! How's everyone doing? Stant Raid. Hello, 9Bub. Hello, Romus Tegan. I'm wide. Thank you so much for the raid! Welcome, guys. I'm Milkbar45. I am a variety streamer, a family-friendly variety streamer at that. So, chat is PG. I can't even get my thumbs in the frame. It's so small. Hi, Stan Jessica. How you doing? Hold on. Let me give you a shout out. Oh, thank you for the subscription. Why is she so?
Serial Appy, I just subscribed for 2 months. Why is she so wide?
That's a good question. That is a very good question. I ate something weird. Guys, go follow Stancheska. Thank you so much for the raid. What were you doing today on stream? As you can see, I'm wide. And it warps, dude. Look at me go. Why do I look like that? Like, I'm like a bobblehead. Literally a bobblehead. I followed Stan. Good job, Mike Spice. I will also follow Stan here. Boom! Followed. Oh, that's normal me. Have you tried swimming in water yet? Hold on. I got you. Guys, I have a broken rib. That was not a smart plan. That was not a good thing for me to do. Went to the playground and fell off. Oh, that's great. That's great. 22 out of 40 Clash stream, Clash Royale, or Clash of Clans. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember which one it was. Like Lowkey. We're doing a memory mode in this? Okay, hold on. Let's do this. 3. Hold on, you. Look at my hand! Look at my hand, dude! What am I doing? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Memory mode. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that. What do you think? Genuinely, I'm such a chud, dude. I'm spending my Friday night being stretched on camera on stream. One in chat if Milkbar45 is a chud. I know, my stream was 50 minutes late. Unfortunately, I had to eat dinner. You know, that happens. Stretched schedule. Bro, you're so right. Make it an emote now. I will be going back in this VOD and clipping an unimaginable amount of stuff, guys. You are gonna be so sick of me at the end of this. Also, I added new stickers to my water bottle. You can't see them very well because of the stretched camera. Hold on. Can you see them a little better in this camera? It's Jinshi and Mau Mau and just regular Mau Mau. And they're very cute. They finally got here. So my package got mixed up with another lady's. And the mailman gave me her package and I didn't get my package. So I called up the mail office. First of all, they dropped my call at least 3 times and I had to go back to like an hour-long wait in the holding, like the hold. And I had to wait for like an unimaginable amount of time. Why do I keep saying that? I obviously can't say the word, so why do I keep saying it? Anyways, I had to wait for a long time to get on call with an agent finally. And so I explained the situation that I didn't get my package and I got some other lady's package, and he's like, okay, let me see what I can do for you. And he unmutes his microphone on his phone and he says, okay, so I filed a formal complaint against the driver. I'm like, I did not want him to get fired for this. I don't want him to get a formal complaint. What are you talking about? I'm holding space for this stream. So funny. Holding space. I'm holding space for this stream. Did I hit that? One in chat if I hit that. I don't think I hit that. Yeah, but poor guy got a formal complaint filed against him because he delivered my package to the wrong spot and I got someone else's package. I did not mean for that to happen. So he came to bring me my package, but he didn't pick up the other lady's package from me. So I had to leave it on the porch and her husband had to come get it. It was a big old mess for just a package of Apothecary Diary stickers. You were cruel. I had no say in this. He literally said, okay, let me see what I can do for you. And then he came back and unmuted his mic and he went, okay, so I filed a formal complaint against him. I'm like, I didn't even have a say in that. I didn't have a say. Thanks for the laughs. No worries. It's my duty. It's my duty. My thumbs look so stubby, dude. This is like so trippy. This is so trippy right now. Oh. Hashtag Houdini. I mean, what? Don't worry, I won't be stretched the whole stream. I'll put my camera back to normal soon. It'll all be fine. Don't worry. But guys, oh man, do I have some complaints? You want to know what I want to complain about? I want to complain about the fact that I did not get to go to the antique store after work today. Every Friday, I work every Friday, and after work every Friday, I go to the antique store and I go check out what new stuff they have. But since our car is impounded currently and my mom is using my van, she had to bring me to work and I didn't drive myself, so I couldn't go to the antique store, and now I'm mad because I didn't get to look at my grandma heirlooms this week and I have to wait till next week to do it. Is that not irritating? That's incredibly irritating. Antique store. R.I.P. antique store. I love antique stores, dude. They're literally my fave things ever. Why did I say fave? Guys, I was legitimately in Fortnite games with like British chavs today. It's crazy. I had a VPN on to watch a show and I opened Fortnite with the VPN still on by accident, not realizing it would affect the servers that I was on. And it connected me to European servers, and I think I was legitimately playing with like British chavs. Like, you know, the girls with like the thick eyebrows and all the bronzer and like chewing super loudly and like the huge hoop earrings and like messy bun. You know chavs, right? I think I was genuinely playing with them. I was like, I'm such a fan of your TikToks. They're not you, but I'm such a fan of the people that act like you. No, I didn't say that. That would have been really embarrassing. That would have been really embarrassing. I'm such a fan of the British chav culture, guys. Yeah, but I was playing with all sorts of Europeans. I didn't realize that. Okay, so European servers. Tell me why the European Fortnite servers are so much nicer than the American ones. I stayed alive until like Final 5 and everyone was just chilling. There was no people screaming offensive things at me. There was no people saying, go make me a sandwich. There was no people trying to kill me immediately as soon as they saw me. It was just chill. Europe might be the GOAT. It might be. I'm just having an identity crisis over here, and you know, it's just a little difficult, you know? It's a little difficult having an identity crisis or like a midlife crisis when you are like 17 years old. It's a little hard. I feel like a little bit of a chud and a little bit of an unk, you know? I'm just all the feels. And that's okay, right? That's fine. That's fine. You know, I thought today, so obviously I'll put my camera back to normal and we'll do the dailies. And then I thought, what I saw Kai Cenat. Okay, hold on. Let me pull up the tweet. Kai Cenat has quit streaming, he says. And he has a secret YouTube channel. And on this YouTube channel, he's been trying to better himself. So he's been trying to, like, learn how to read a little better. Hi, Error Wrong User. Welcome in. A little bit of a late raid. That's all good. That's all good. No worries. Welcome in. So Kai Cenat has been trying to learn how to read better and, like, get better reading comprehension. So he's been learning. And he's been reading on stream. And I thought, well, I've got some really old books that are out in public domain. Maybe I'll read you guys a little bit of a story.
Memory mode.
Oh, thank you for the prime. Hello.
Thank you, TJ91.
Hello, TJ91
TJ.
TJ. 3 months, go me. Good job. Wide Milk Bar 45. Yeah. Yeah, so the book that I've decided to read today, I thought, you know what? I'll bring you cannot read that. George Orwell 1984 to the Americans who've had it banned in school and are not allowed to read it anymore. So we're gonna read that later, but obviously we'll fix my camera first and then do the dailies. But yeah, here we've got Kai Cenat. He's learning to read and people were making fun of him for it and it's so sad. It's so sad. He's just trying to learn. He's just trying to read. 1984. Have you guys read 1984 before? I know that it was banned in the US in schools. It's not like completely banned in the US. Like you can still buy it and read it, I think, but you don't read it in school anymore there. And I don't know if they even read it in school in Canada. I don't know. I'm homeschooled. Caught. I can't even do absolute cinema or caught anymore because my arms just aren't in frame. This is like upsetting. I don't know what to do with myself now. Oh man, Milk Bar's like completely stretched, dude. Look at me. I love the way that it like warps when I move though. Like look at that. It's like going like there was something that I needed to tell you guys and I don't remember what it was. Turn your head sideways. What is happening? Guys. How many people had a kid in 1984 because of the book 1984, do you think? I've never read 1984, so, I don't know what it's about. Is it about having children? Is it about having children? Guys, this is diabolical. Chop Chin final boss, bro. Looks Maxers on Instagram are gonna tear me apart. I made a tweet today, and I stand by it. We should stop looks maxing and start personality maxing. We should just learn how to be cooler, more entertaining people instead of trying to look better. I stand by it. This is such a great camera filter. You know what the best thing is, Serial P? It's not even a filter. I literally just... Oh, you can't even see it here. My camera's not stretched there. It's literally just my camera source on OBS stretched a lot lengthways. That's literally all it is. But I have a terrible personality. See, that's where personality maxing comes into play. We could do a personality maxing stream, guys. So much easier to use a hammer on my face. You know, I didn't even think about that approach, but maybe we'll try it next time. Maybe we'll try it next time. Who knows? Oh, man. Milkbar 45 is low-key feeling on a roll today. Something about the stretch stream is giving me luck. I've gotten 2 subs already. I've gotten a raid. Somehow the stretch stream's giving me good luck, dude. I don't understand it. I don't know if you guys understand it. You probably don't. I don't think there's any reason behind it. I just burped. Excuse me. Woo! Bum, bum. My brother's trying to buy a Nintendo 2 console from some guy who's trying to trade it for old, like, other gaming consoles. But I think it's a scam because he's selling like a brand new $700 thing for these old, like, DS things. I don't, in what world would that be I don't understand. It's some person on Facebook Marketplace. I don't understand in what world that would actually be true. I don't think it would be. I got another email from that company that wanted to do a brand deal with me, but was like using AI in the brand deal. So they emailed me. Should I read you guys the email? Hold on. I'm gonna read you the email. I'm not gonna say who it's from, but I'm gonna read you the email because low-key, bro's desperate. Okay. I hate dealing with people on Facebook Marketplace. I love Facebook Marketplace, but I hate the people on Facebook Marketplace, if that makes sense. Old DS stuff can go for a lot of money these days. I think my 3DS is selling for like $400? I'm speechless. That's insane. Okay, so, said email. Hi, Milkbar45. I wanted to quickly follow up on my previous note. I know life as a creator is busy, so I'll keep it brief. At blank blank, we handle the boring admin/contract stuff so you can stay focused on the creative side. Would you be open to a quick chat or some more details on how the campaigns would work? And I looked into their brand beforehand, and it's like they kind of connect you with other brand deals and like sign you on as some sort of agency thing, and they were doing like AI promotion to find said deals. And I said, I'm gonna refuse this offer because of the AI being used in the process. I thought that sounded pretty professional. Does that not sound pretty professional? I'd argue that the AI usage is not professional of them. But I think that was a good response. I wanted to do the what color shirt will Milkbar45 be wearing prediction again at the beginning of the stream. But once again, there were not enough people in at the beginning to predict what color shirt I was wearing. And it was also just the exact same shirt that I wore last time. I washed it. I don't think you even needed to respond, but yeah. Well, he messaged me the first time, and then he, like, added on to the next message with another message. So I was like, is he just gonna keep sending me messages until I reply? So I was like, you know what, let's just shut it down now. But who knows, maybe it was like a chat bot or something, and he's just gonna keep sending me messages. Who knows? Who knows? I don't want to hear about your AI brand partnership deal thing, no. The day will come when Milkbot45 gets a real brand deal, and one that she actually wants to do. If they're using AI, it's almost 100% a bot email. Yeah, I figured, but who knows? Maybe responding will make them stop. I don't know. I'm just trying. I'm trying. In a big, confusing world, I'm trying. She's gonna be too big for us one day. Yes, and I'm gonna cut off all my day ones, and I'm going to call them broke and laugh in their faces, and I'm gonna leave everyone behind in the dust in my newfound richness. We are cutting off our day ones as soon as we get that brand deal. Milk gonna blow up and act like she don't know nobody. Dude, I would know someone. And you know who I'd know? I'd know Markiplier. I'd know Bill Gates. I'd know the Tough Baby, or the Sun Baby. Sun. We'd be best bros, bro. Me and the Sun Baby. We'd be such good friends. I'm thinking about it now. We'd be besties. Shall we return my camera back to its normal state? I feel like maybe I should. I muted my mic. Whoops. Whoops. Oh, I guess in Control Z and everything, I by accidentally did that. Whoops. Classic. Cinema. Cinema. Alright, shall we do the dailies, guys? Hey, chat, just got here. Is the streamer's face too thin? Why she squished her camera like that? No, no. It's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like that. Yeah. You're not wrong. She always knows just what to say. I can't, bro. All right. We're doing the Costco. I'm really fulfilling my role in the American servers on Fortnite and doing like Costco price guessing. Shrimp garlic chips, these slap. I've had these before. They slap, okay? I love shrimp and these are absolutely like peak. You don't even know. You don't even know. I don't know how much they are though. I've never bought them myself. Which, by the way, I do have a Costco card. I have my own Costco card because my mom has one, like a membership, and we were allowed to get one for me. So I had to get like a picture at the Costco on a really old Logitech webcam. And I was wearing a hat and I was looking absolutely chopped and I look awful. And I would show you the picture if it wouldn't dox me because of the information on the card. That's a good flex in 2026 to have a Costco card. I know, right, dude? But I'm gonna go to Costco soon and get some blue light glasses because my eyes have been absolutely dying while streaming. Like, it's really bad. Because on Fridays, I work all day on a computer and then I stream for like 3 hours on a computer. Costco's amazing. It is. So I'm gonna go to Costco and I'm gonna go check out their selection of blue light glasses. But apparently, my coworker said that you can't like open an oven while you're in blue light glasses. I don't know what'll happen. Hold on, should we look it up? What happens if you open an oven while wearing blue light glasses? Maybe they'll explode. Maybe I'll explode. Hold on. That's not what I'm looking for. Well, I'll just read the AI overview, I guess. Will likely cause the lenses to fog up instantly. Oh, never mind. It's not gonna make me blow up. I thought I'd blow up. That's significantly more disappointing. Well, let's figure out the price here. I'm thinking $7.99. Lower? Okay, $5.99. Higher. Okay, $6.50. Okay, $6.99. $7.25. There we go. $7.49. Ooh. Okay. So I was really close with my first guess. If I had just gone like a little less low. But who would have known that? Who would have known that? These are really good though. Shrimp are amazing, okay? I am a seafood gal. I love seafood. All right, what word do we start with? Did we start with teach or brick last time? Or maybe I'll do proud. Ooh, that's a good one. Never mind, that's not a good one. Okay. Treat. I know I'm using repeat letters. It's fine. Oh. Okay. Ear. Ew. Oh, no. Urns. Urns! Yes! Yes! Oh, no. Okay. Dang it. I really thought that would be it. I really thought. Bro, really thought. Quake Ooze, I'm sorry if I scared you away. I'm sorry I scared you away. My camera was squished. It was for a bit. Please come back. Oh dear. I scared them away, didn't I? Alright. What are we thinking this could possibly be? Could it be... Oh, Reach! Reach is a good one. Yes. No. Okay. Alright. So... Oh, wait. No, there's an A there. I'm an idiot. Ranch? Nope. Racer. I genuinely did not think that was gonna be it. Hi, Arsing, how you doing? How did I do that? Okay. Maybe we'll get the same stroke of good fortune with connections. Since when is Arsing a doctor? I was not aware of this. Are you a surgeon? Can you do knee surgery? Can you do knee surgery? Arsing PG chat. I'm PG. Oh, that hurt. Okay. I went to physiotherapy on when was it? I don't remember. Hold on. I went on Wednesday, I think, for my neck and my abdomen from the car crash. And they can't do much for my ribs right now because it's broken. But they're gonna try fix my neck. So I need to do a bunch of neck exercises. Should I show you my neck exercises? Hold on. I'll show you. I need to do these multiple times a day, as well as putting heat on my head. No one knows Arsing's specialty. Some say not even him. Bro's just a little lost. That's okay. That's okay. You don't always need to know what you want to do in life. You just need to do what feels right, you know? You just gotta do what you think you should be doing. You don't need to know. You don't need to know what you're going to do in life. Things happen. I'm in my last year of med school right now. So you don't have a specialty yet, do you? You pick a specialty later. I want to match into physical medicine and rehabilitation, but I won't know until March. Well, I'm hoping you get what you want. Hoping you get into what you want. I'll show you my neck exercises. Alright, so I'm supposed to do this a bunch of times. Just like slow up and down. And then I'm supposed to do this a bunch of times, side to side, but gentle. Don't make the muscles pull too much, otherwise it's gonna make it worse. And then do this a bunch of times. Now this one hurts the most because it is like the muscle right here that's not doing too good. So I gotta do this a bunch of times. And then I gotta use a heat pack on my neck. And that is the extent of what they're doing with me, I think. Your trap in SCM is right or something. I don't know what it's called, but it's like the big muscle on the back that it like extends up to your neck and goes all the way down to like your rib cage. Yeah, my muscles are seized like up. They're seized up because of a car crash. And it's not too bad. They just could use a little bit of something, you know? Alright, let's get work on this. Uh-oh. Hold on. Oh. Yeah, I know, it sucks, hey? Why does everything rhyme here? Why does everything rhyme here? Can I ask that? Panama, Alabama, Bahama, Kansas. Those are all places. Never mind. Okay, I'm a chud. I'm a chud, dude. Pork pie? What? Ain't no way. Dude, I love the ain't no way emo. It's actually peak, bro. What is this? Bath, pajamas, story, bedtime, yes. Bath, pajama, story, brushing teeth. Genius! Okay. What else could be here? What is Santana? Am I going crazy? Or is that not a thing? Just keep stretching and listening to the PT, they all know. Stretching? Stretching, you say? Stretching? Stretching? Stretching, you say? You want me to stretch? Stretch, you say? Stretch? Stretch? You want me to stretch here? I could do that. Look. Look at me. I followed the doctor's orders. I followed them, didn't I? I followed the orders. What happens if you tilt your head? This. I look like this. But I stretched. Look at that. Look at that. Hold on. I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it. I got you. Whoa, what just happened? Oh, I'm muted. My camera's been moved. What's happening with my camera? Oh, I moved my own. We're chilling. We're good. We're good. It did that when I was stretching. Sorry. It automatically muted when I was stretching. What can I say? So what do we think here? Panama, Bahama, Santana. There couldn't be anything else there. Those sound like tropical countries, kind of. Wait, Panama's not a tropical country. What am I saying? What am I saying? Okay, you know what? I think I'm confused. What could fedora possibly have to do with anything? Bananarama, slam. I don't know what on earth pork pie means. I'm gonna look it up. This isn't cheating. Pork pie. No, not hat. Oh, it's a type of hat. Hold on. Hold on. Pork pie, fedora, derby hat. What other kind of hats are there? Santana. Shoot. What else here is a hat? Is there a piano hat? No. Is there a slam hat? Hold on. That's a thing? I'm missing a hat. Maybe I should think about something else before I try this again. Kansas, Alabama, Santana, Panama. States. Well, Derby, fedora, Panama. What is a Panama hat? Traditional stylish straw hat. Okay. Musical acts with A as the only vowel. I swear they make these up every time. I'm so confused. Musical acts. I don't understand. I don't get it. Grand Bahama. What is a Grand Bahama? Grand Canyon, Grand Piano, Grand Slam. Oh, well, that makes sense. But what is a Grand Bahama? What is that? Okay, fine. We're doing the bandle, guys. This is better. This will be better than whatever that weird connections thing was. 2.4 billion YouTube views released in 2015. Okay, hold on. 2.4 billion is crazy. No, okay, it's not Thunder. I don't even know. I don't know this either. We're gonna need another one. 2.4 billion is a lot of views, though. What is this? Okay, I'm gonna need another one. Hold on. There we go. Worth it. Worth it by Fifth Harmony. You know what? I would not have gotten that from just the drums. There is no way. Most people got it on the same one as I did. The saxophone is very recognizable in this song. That is what you think of. Oh man. Milk Bar has had a very stretchy stream, I'm not gonna lie. This is still crazy though. Yeah, yep. Oh, there's more. There's more. What does a stretchy stream mean? It means this, Mike. I'm just saving these. Hold on. These are beautiful images. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, this is hilarious. I'm dying. I'm not literally dying, but in a metaphorical sense, I am dying of laughter. I'm literally wide, bro. And you thought that was reserved for Plode. Alright, you know what? It's time to read some George Orwell 1984, as it is non-copyrighted and in the public domain. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? I'm ready. Alright. Let's sit back as I read you guys a beautiful story about... okay, so the back reads as 1984 has come and gone, but George Orwell's prophetic nightmarish vision in 1949 of the world we were becoming is timelier than ever. 1984 is still the great modern classic of negative utopia, a startlingly original and haunting novel that creates an imaginary world that is completely convincing. From the first sentence to the last 4 words, no one can deny the novel's hold on the imaginations of whole generations, or the power of its admonitions, a power that seems to grow, not lessen, with the passage of time. So, this is about negative utopia. So it's about a perfect world, but it's bad that it's a perfect world, if I am understanding this correctly. Chapter 1. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Winston Smith, his chin nuzzled into his breast, in an effort to escape the vile wind, slipped quickly through the glass doors of Victory Mansions, though not quickly enough to prevent a swirl of gritty dust from entering along with him. The hallway smelt of boiled cabbage and old rag mats. Oh, boiled cabbage smells awful. Oh, I like that little reading owl emote. That's so cute. That's literally me right now. I hope this is calming you down, guys. I hope maybe you can sleep to this or something. At one end of it, a colored poster, too large for indoor display, had been tacked to the wall. It depicted simply an enormous face more than a meter wide, the face of a man of about 45 with a heavy black mustache and ruggedly handsome features. Winston made for the stairs. It was no use trying to lift. Even at the best times, it was seldom working, and at present, the electric current was cut off during daylight hours. It was part of the economy drive in preparation for Hate Week. The flat was 7 flights up. Bro's in a penthouse. What? And Winston, who was 39 and had a varicose ulcer above his right ankle, went slowly, resting several times on the way. On each landing, opposite the lift shaft, the poster with the enormous face gazed from the wall. It was one of those pictures which are so contrived that the eyes follow you about when you move. Big Brother is watching you, the caption beneath it ran. Bom, bom, bom. Inside the flat, a fruity voice. Fruity voice? What? Someone explain what that means to me. Inside the flat, a fruity voice was reading out a list of figures which had something to do with the production of pig. The voice came from an oblong metal plaque like a dulled mirror which formed part of the surface of the right-hand wall. Winston turned a switch, and the voice sank somewhat, though the words were still distinguishable. The instrument, the telescreen it was called, could be dimmed, but there was no way of shutting it off completely. He moved over to the window, a smallish trail figure, the meagerness of his body merely emphasized by the blue overalls, which were uniform of the party. Oh, so this is like Hunger Games and USSR mixed together. Am I right? Am I right? I'm trying to comprehend this. Alright. His hair was very fair, his face naturally sanguine. Sanguine? His skin roughened by coarse soap and blunt razor blades and the cold of the winter that had just ended. Outside, even through the shut window pane, the world looked cold. Down in the streets, little eddies of wind were whirling dust and torn paper into spirals. And though the sun was shining, and sky a harsh blue, there seemed to be no color in anything except the posters that were plastered everywhere. That is what 1984 is. Okay, so I've got good reading comprehension, maybe. Who knew? Who could have known? I'm smart. Oh. The black mustachioed face gazed down from every commanding corner. There was one on the house front, immediately opposite. Big Brother is watching you, the caption said, while the dark eyes looked deeply into Winston's own. Down at street level, another poster, torn at one corner, flapped fitfully in the wind, alternately covering and uncovering the single word, Ingsoc. In the far distance, a helicopter skimmed down between the roofs, hovered for an instant like a bluebottle, and darted away again with a curving flight. It was the police patrol snooping into people's windows. The patrols did not matter, however. Only the thought police mattered. Behind Winston's back, the voice from the telescreen was still babbling away about pig iron and the overfulfillment of the ninth 3-year plan. The telescreen received and transmitted simultaneously. Any sound that Winston made above the level of a very low whisper would be picked up by it. More so ever, so long as he remained within the field of vision which the metal plaque commanded, he could be seen as well as heard. There was, of course, no way of knowing whether you were being watched at any given moment. You know what? This is sounding scarily like our Chinese spies that are in our phones. You know, our little friends that we lost for a while when TikTok was banned, although I didn't lose them because I was Canadian, so. Oh wait, no, we lost them when TikTok was sold. We lost our little Chinese spies, our best friends, you know? They watched us through everything. They grew up with us. It's a surveillance state just like China and France. France is a surveillance state? Since when? Since when? Any sound that Winston made above the level of a low whisper could be picked up by it. Moreover, so long as he remained within the field of vision which the metal plaque commanded, he could be seen as well as heard. There was, of course, no way of knowing whether you were being watched at any given moment, how often, or on what system. The thought police plugged in on any individual wire was guesswork. It was even conceivable that they watched everybody all the time, but at any rate, they could plug in your wire whenever they wanted to. You had to did live, from habit that became instinct, in the assumption that every sound you made was overheard, and except in darkness, every movement scrutinized. To a small extent, but more than other nations. Interesting. I didn't know that. I'm learning things. I'm learning a lot. I'm wondering, by the end of this chapter, if you guys enjoy reading the chapter, maybe we'll read a chapter like every Just Chatting stream that I do, and we can all go through 1984 together. Would that be weird? Would that be weird, or would that be kind of like cute and cozy? Winston kept his back turned to the telescreen. It was safer, though as well... I think my thing just glitched. I think my screen just glitched. Did anyone see that? Did anyone see that? Maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe I didn't actually see that. All right. Winston kept his back turned to the telescreen. It was safer, though, as he well knew, even a back can be revealing. A kilometer away, the Ministry of Truth, his place of work, towered vast and white above the grimy landscape. This, he thought, was a sort of vague distaste. This was London, chief city of Airstrip 1, itself the third most populous of the provinces of Oceania. He tried to squeeze out some childhood memory that should tell him whether London has always been quite like this. Were there always these vistas of rotting 19th century houses? I think this music might be a little loud. Hold on. Let me turn it down. It's a little louder than that other music. Their sides shored up with balks of timber, their windows patched with cardboard, and their roofs with corrugated iron, their crazy garden walls sagging in all directions, and the bombed site where the plaster dust swirled in the air and the willow herb straggled over the heaps of rubble, and the place where the bombs had cleared a larger path, and there had sprung up sordid colonies of wooden dwellings like chicken houses? But it was no use, he could not remember. Nothing remained of his childhood except a series of bright lit tableaux, occurring against no background and mostly unintelligible. Thank you for the follow, Chloen. I hope you're enjoying reading Germany 1984 by George Orwell. It doesn't say Germany. I'm not sure why I said that. That's a good question. I think I was thinking Germany 1924. Like the year of the war. I'm going crazy. It's not Germany. It's just 1984. The Ministry of Truth, Minute True in Newspeak, was startlingly, I can't say that word, startlingly different from any other object in sight. It was an enormous pyramidal structure of glittering white concrete soaring up terrace after terrace. 300 meters in the air from where Winston stood, it was just possible to read, picked out on its white face in elegant lettering, the three slogans of the party. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. The Ministry of Truth contained, it was said, 3,000 rooms above ground level and corresponding ramifications below. Scattered around London, there were just 3 other buildings of similar appearance and size. So completely did they dwarf the surrounding architecture that from the roof of Victory Mansions you could see all 4 of them simultaneously. They were the homes of the 4 ministries between which the entire apparatus of government was divided. The Ministry of Truth, which concerned itself with news, entertainment, education, and the fine arts. The Ministry of Peace, which concerned itself with war. The Ministry of Love, which maintained law and order. and the Ministry of Plenty, which was responsible for economic affairs. Their names in Newspeak: Minitru, Minipax, Minilove, and Miniplenty. The Ministry of Love was the really frightening one. There were no windows in it at all. Winston had never been inside the Ministry of Love, nor within half a kilometer of it. It was a place impossible to enter, except on official business, and then only by penetrating through a maze of barbed wire entanglements, steel doors, and hidden machine gun nests. Even the streets leading up to its outer barriers were roamed by gorilla-faced guards in black uniforms, armed with jointed truncheons. This sounds really creepy. I don't know, man. I'm beginning to understand why this book was such a big deal, and why, like, it's always, like, brought up and referenced. It's, like, scarily, like, it's dystopia, yeah, but it's, like, dystopia to a point where you think that it could happen, like, it's a possible dystopia. I mean, if you look at a dystopia like Uglies. If you guys watched the Uglies movie or read the books, I think there's a book. That's, like, inconceivable to us. Like, we think that could, like, never happen, right? And if you really think about it, this 1984 very much could happen. Like, it's very plausible if you think about it. All right, I need more relaxing music. French instrumental music, lovely. Hi, Economy, how you doing? What's up? Oh, thank you for the Prime. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. This has been a crazy stream today. I've gotten 3 subs and a raid. You guys are spoiling me. You gonna stay to read my little... This is too upbeat for 1984. Hold on. I need to find different music. This is way too upbeat. Here we go. This will probably be better. Are you reading 1984? I am. I'm reading it. Just arrived home below again. Hello, Stancheska. Hello. I'm 50% of the way to completing your goal. Well, would you look at that? Isn't that nice? All right, let's continue with 1984. Stancheska, if you missed it, while you were gone, I'm reading George Orwell's 1984. We're in the first chapter right now. And they just explained all the ministries. All right. Winston turned round abruptly. He had set his features into the expression of quiet optimism, which it was advisable to wear when facing the telescreen. He crossed the room into the tiny kitchen. By leaving the ministry at this time of day, he had sacrificed his lunch in the canteen, and he was aware that there was no food in the kitchen except a hunk of dark-colored bread, which had got to be saved for tomorrow's breakfast. No way, a bedtime story? Yes, I'm reading you guys a bedtime story. Isn't it great? I don't read books anymore. I live on AI Slot from Facebook. Oh no. Oh no. So you definitely need to hear this book. You definitely need to hear this book if you live off of AI Slop on Facebook. Have a good stream. I'm going to sleep. All right. Sounds good. Good night, Rain. Thank you for the lurk. Have a good night. All right. Where was I again? Here we go. He took down from the shelf a bottle of colorless liquid with a plain white label marked Victory Gin. It gave off a sickly, oily smell as of Chinese rice spirit. Winston poured out nearly a teacupful, nerved himself for a shock, and gulped it down like a dose of medicine. Instantly, his face turned scarlet and the water ran out of his eyes. The stuff was like nitric acid, and moreover, in swallowing it, one had the sensation of being hit on the back of the head with a rubber club. Oh... That's so nice. That sounds enjoyable. That sounds great. Facebook microdramas. Facebook is crazy, dude. Don't ever go to Facebook. Hi, Plode. How you doing? We are book clubbing. I just saw a dog who was a war veteran say, Jesus, how can a book be that? You know what? You can, at that point, you might as well just, I think you're a bit too far gone at that point. So, I'm sorry. The next moment, however, the burning in his belly died down and the world began to look more cheerful. He took a cigarette from a crumpled packet marked Victory Cigarettes and incautiously held it upright, whereupon the tobacco fell out onto the floor. With the next, he was more successful. He went back to the living room and sat down at a small table that stood to the left of the telescreen. From the table drawer, he took out a pen holder, a bottle of ink, and a thick quarto-sized blank book with a red back and a marbled cover. For some reason, the telescreen in the living room was in an unusual position. Instead of being placed, as it was normal, in the end wall where it would command the whole room, it was in the longer wall, opposite the window. To one side of it, there was a shallow alcove in which Winston was now sitting, and which, when the flats were built, had probably been intended to hold bookshelves. By sitting in the alcove and keeping well back, Winston was able to remain outside the range of the telescreen, so far as sight went. He could be heard, of course, but so long as he stayed in his present position, he could not be seen. It was partly the unusual geography of the room that had suggested to him the thing that he was now about to do. Ooh, he's about to do something rebellious! Reading 1984 in today's society is very fitting. Yeah, almost like we're there. That's what I'm saying, man. I'm warning them. I'm warning the generations. Milkbar 45 is actively warning the generations. You've got an amazing reading voice. Well, thank you. I did want to be an audiobook reader for a while there. For like a year, I wanted to be an audiobook reader. Just because, like, I thought it'd be an easy job. But now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know about that. It doesn't sound like very steady work. Ukraine is the forever war. That's true. That is true. My grandpa is very invested in the Ukrainian war. My grandpa is very upset about big injustices like that, and he's very invested in it. All right. But it had also been suggested by the book that he had just taken out of the drawer. It was a peculiarly beautiful book. Its smooth, creamy paper, a little yellowed by age, was of a kind that had not been manufactured for at least 40 years past. He could guess, however, that the book was much older than that. He had seen it lying in the window of a frowsy little junk shop in a slummy quarter of the town. Just what quarter he did not now remember, and had been stricken immediately by an overwhelming desire to possess it. Party members were supposed not to go into ordinary shops. Dealing on the free market, it was called. But the rule was not strictly kept, because there was various things such as shoelaces and razor blades, which it was impossible to get hold of in any other way. He had given a quick glance up and down the street, and then had slipped inside and bought the book for $2.50. At the time, he was not conscious of wanting it for any particular purpose. He had carried it guiltily home in his briefcase, even with nothing written in it. It was a comprising possession. It's over. Guys, it's not over. I'm confused. What do you mean it's over? It's not Jover, bro. It's not Jover. The thing that he was about to do was to open a diary. This was not illegal. Nothing was illegal since there were no longer any laws. But if detected, it was reasonably certain that it would be punished by death, or at least by 25 years in a forced labor camp. That's interesting. There's no longer any laws, but if you get caught doing something that they don't like, they punish you. That sounds an awful lot like laws. Interesting. Winston fitted a nib into the pen holder and sucked it to get the grease off. The pen was an archaic instrument, seldom used even for signatures, and he had procured one furtively and with some difficulty, simply because of a feeling that the beautiful creamy paper deserved to be written on with a real nib instead of being scratched with an ink pencil. Actually, he was not used to writing by hand. Apart from very short notes, it was usual to dictate everything into the speak-write, which was of course impossible for his present purpose. He dipped the pen into the ink and then faltered for just a second. A tremor had gone through his bowels. To mark the paper was a decisive act. In very clumsy letters he wrote, April 4th, 1984. He sat back. A sense of complete helplessness had descended upon him. To begin with, he did not know with any certainty that this was 1984. It must be round about that date, since he was fairly sure that his age was 39, and he believed that he had been born in 1944 or 1945, but it was never possible nowadays to pin down any date within a year or two. For whom, it suddenly occurred to him to wonder, was he writing this diary? For the future, for the unborn. His mind hovered for a moment round the doubtful date on the page, and then fetched up with a bump against the newspeak word, double think. For the first time, the magnitude of what he had undertaken came home to him. How could you communicate with the future? It was of its nature impossible. Either the future would resemble the present, in which case it would not listen to him. Oh, hold on, there's ads. I'll wait for the ads to be done, because I don't want people to miss any of it. I don't want people to miss the book, so I will wait for them ads to be done. But let me know when the ads are done, and then I'll continue. Just let me know. This is interesting though, because like I said, it is the most probable dystopia that I could think of. Like, even the Hunger Games, there's nothing incredibly insane about that, like, but still, you could never think about society going so far as to, like, punish groups of people by sending their kids to fight each other. Like, you could never think of that, really. It doesn't really, I mean, aside from Trump's Patriot Games. But you never really think about that. But this dystopia, it just, like, it sounds real because things sound, like, plausible. That's probably not really insightful. It's just interesting. I've never read this book, so we're going through it together. Are the ads done? They've got to be done by now, right? I was busy and I came back to talking about Trump. Oh no, I was just talking about Trump's Patriot Games and like that's like the only resemblance to the Hunger Games that we have in real life. Because like the Hunger Games seem kind of plausible, but also you would just never think that that could actually happen with like human empathy and stuff. But then again, it's like, is there human empathy in here? No, not really. All right, we should be good to read again. I think ads are done. Where was I again? There was Mongolian lamb soccer. What is that? Hold on. I'm just gonna stick my little Smitsky here so that I know where I am. What is Mongolian lamb soccer? I don't think that's a thing. That is not a thing. I have no clue if Trump's actually doing the Patriot Games because yeah, who knows? Maybe it was just a silly little thing that he decided to do. I don't know. In Mongolia and Afghanistan, they would play soccer by riding on horses and carrying a lamb into goals. It's a thing. That sounds fun. That's like the How to Train Your Dragon thing. They were trying to get sheep with their dragons. I remember that in one of the movies. I don't know what movie it was though. I don't really watch those movies very often. All right, let's continue. For some time he sat gazing stupidly at the paper. The telescreen had changed over to strident military music. It was curious that he seemed not merely to have lost the power of expressing himself, but even to have forgotten what it was that he had originally intended to say. For weeks past he had been making ready for this moment, and it had never crossed his mind that anything would be needed except courage. The actual writing would be easy. All he had to do was to transfer to paper the interminable, restless monologue that had been running inside his head, literally for years. At this moment, however, even the monologue had dried up. Moreover, his varicose ulcer had begun itching unbearably. He dared not scratch it, because if he did so, it always became inflamed. The seconds were ticking by. He was conscious of nothing except the blankness of the page in front of him, the itching of the skin above his ankle, the blaring of the music, and a slight booziness caused by the gin. Suddenly, he began writing in sheer panic, only perfectly aware of what he was setting down. His small but childish handwriting straggled up and down the page, shedding first its capital letters and finally even its full stops. April 4th, 1984. Last night to the flicks. All war films. One very good one of a ship full of refugees being bombed somewhere in the Mediterranean. Audience much amused by shots of a great huge fat man trying to swim away with a helicopter after him. First you saw him wallowing along in the water like a porpoise. Then you saw him through the helicopter's gun sights. Then he was full of holes, and the sea round him turned pink, and he sank as suddenly as though the holes had let in the water. Audience shouting with laughter when he sank. Then you saw a lifeboat full of children with a helicopter hovering over it. There was a middle-aged woman, might have been a Jewess, sitting up in the bow with a little boy about 3 years old in his arms. Little boy screaming with fright and hiding his head between her breasts as if he was trying to burrow right into her, and the woman putting her arms around him and comforting him, although she was blue with fright herself. all the time covering him up as much as possible, as if she thought her arms could keep the bullets off of him. Then the helicopter planted a 20-kilo bomb in among their terrific flash, and the boat went all to matchwood. Then there was a wonderful shot of a child's arm going up, 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 right up into the air. A helicopter with a camera in its nose must have followed it up, and there was a lot of applause from party seats. But a woman down in the prole part of the house suddenly started kicking up a fuss and shouting. They didn't oughter have shoved it not in front of the kids. They didn't. It ain't right not in front of the kids. It ain't until the police turned her out. I don't suppose anything happened to her. Nobody cares what the proles say. Typical prole reaction. They never... Winston stopped writing, partly because he was suffering from cramp. It's a thing, but calling it soccer is a disgrace worse than the sport itself. It doesn't sound like soccer. You're not kicking anything, right? Soccer is kicking a ball. You're not kicking anything. Because, like, hockey's the same thing. You're trying to get an object into a net. So, you wouldn't call it hockey. It's its own sport. I wouldn't call it soccer. He did not know what had made him pour out this stream of rubbish, but the curious thing was that while he was doing so, a totally different memory had clarified itself in his mind, to the point where he almost felt equal to writing it down. It was, he now realized, because of this other incident that he had suddenly decided to come home and begin the diary today. It had happened that morning at the ministry, if anything so nebulous could be said to happen. It was nearly 1100, and in the records department where Winston worked, they were dragging the chairs out of the cubicles and grouping them in the center of the hall, opposite the big telescreen, in preparation for the 2 minutes hate. 2 minutes hate? Hold on. What could that possibly be? What could that be? American football over football? Nah, man. American football is literally just a bunch of men tackling each other in tights. At least soccer is interesting. I don't understand football for the life of me, and I don't think I ever will. Soccer is easy to understand. Football is just like so confusing. It's more like rugby, but with a dead goat, but on horses. You know what? I don't know what rugby is, really. Like, I know what it is, but I don't really know how you play rugby, so I don't know if I can agree. I don't know anything about it. Alright. So we were just talking about the 2 minutes of hate. Winston was just taking his place in one of the middle rows when two people whom he knew by sight but had never spoken to came unexpectedly into the room. One of them was a girl whom he often passed in the corridors. He did not know her name, but he knew that she worked in the fiction department, presumably since he had always seen her with oily hands and carrying a spanner. He had some mechanical job on one of the novel writing machines. She was a bold-looking girl of about 27 with thick dark hair, a freckled face, and swift athletic movements. A narrow scarlet sash, emblem of the Junior Anti-Sex League, was wound several times around the waist of her overalls, just tightly enough to bring out the shape. Winston had disliked her from the very first moment of seeing her. He knew the reason. It was because of the atmosphere of hockey fields and cold baths and community hikes and general clean-mindedness which she managed to carry about with her. He disliked near all women, and especially the young and pretty ones. It was always the women, and above all the young ones, who were the most bigoted adherents of the party, the swallowers of slogans, the amateur spies and nosers out of unorthodoxy. But this particular girl gave him the impression of being more dangerous than most. Once, when they had passed in the corridor, she had given him a quick sidelong glance, which seemed to pierce right into him, and for a moment had filled him with black terror. The idea had even crossed his mind that she might be an agent of the thought police. That it was true was very unlikely. Still, he continued to feel a peculiar uneasiness, which had fear mixed up in it as well as hostility whenever she was anywhere near him. The other person was a man named O'Brien, a member of the inner party and holder of some post so important and remote that Winston had only a dim idea of its nature. A momentary hush passed over the group of people round the chairs as they saw the black overalls of an inner party member approaching. O'Brien was a large, burly man with a thick neck and a coarse, humorous, brutal face. In spite of his formidable appearance, he had a certain charm of manner. He had a trick of resettling his spectacles on his nose, which was curiously disarming. In some indefinable way, curiously civilized. It was a gesture which, if anyone had still thought in such terms, might have recalled an 18th century nobleman offering his snuff box. Winston had seen O'Brien perhaps a dozen times in almost as many years. He felt deeply drawn to him, and not solely because he was intrigued by the contrast between O'Brien's urbane manner and his prizefighter's physique. Much more, it was because of a secretly held belief, or perhaps not even a belief, merely a hope, that O'Brien's political orthodoxy was not perfect. Something in his face suggested it irresistibly. And again, perhaps it was not even an orthodoxy that was written in his face, but simply intelligence. That's a hard sentence. That's a hard thought, that it's not unorthodoxy that he harbors. He's not like completely difficult. He's not unwilling to comply. He's just like able to think for himself and be smart. He's like a smart person. He's not disobedient. Oh man, my throat hurts. How much longer do I have till I finish chapter 1? I'm just gonna take a look here. Just gonna take a look. Where's chapter 2? There's gotta be a spot somewhere where it transitions to a different chapter. Oh, wait, no. Oh, hold on. I'm figuring it out. Ah, here we go. Okay, we've got a few more pages left to go. We're almost there. But at any rate, he had the appearance of being a person that you could talk to. If somehow you could cheat the telescreen and get him alone, Winston had never made the smallest effort to verify this guess. Indeed, there was no way of doing so. At this moment, O'Brien glanced at his wristwatch, saw that it was nearly 1100, and evidently decided to stay in the records. Department until the 2 minutes hate was over. He took a chair in the same row as Winston. A couple of places away, a small sandy-haired woman who worked in the next cubicle to Winston was between them. The girl with dark hair was sitting immediately behind. The next moment, a hideous grinding screech as of some monstrous machine running without oil burst from the big telescreen at the end of the room. It was a noise that set one's teeth on edge and bristled the hair at the back of one's neck. The hate had started. As usual, the face of Emmanuel Goldstein, the enemy of the people, had flashed onto the screen. There were hisses here and there among the audience. The little sandy-haired woman gave a squeak of mingled fear and disgust. Goldstein was the renegade and backslider who once, long ago, how long ago nobody quite remembered, had been one of the leading figures of the party, almost on a level with Big Brother himself, and then had engaged in counter-revolutionary activities, had been condemned to death, and had mysteriously escaped and disappeared. The program of the 2-minute hate varied from day to day, but there was none in which Goldstein was not the principal figure. He was the primal traitor, the earliest defiler of the party's purity. All subsequent crimes against the party, all treacheries, acts of sabotage, heresies, deviations, sprang directly out of his teaching. Somewhere or other he was still alive, and hatching his conspiracies. Perhaps somewhere beyond the sea, under the protection of his foreign paymasters. Perhaps even, so, it was occasionally rumored, in some hiding place in Oceania itself. Okay, so we have the 2-minute hate. Happens every day. And it's about this Goldstein guy who was part of the leading party with Big Brother. But he rebelled, I guess, and maybe he saw what he had created and helped create and decided it was wrong and he didn't want to stand for it anymore. So he started trying to tear it down from the inside and he got executed for it, is what I'm understanding here. Also just a little bit of a theory there. Winston's diaphragm was constricted. He could never see the face of Goldstein without a painful mixture of emotions. It was a lean Jewish face with a great fuzzy areole of white hair and a small goatee beard, a clever face and yet somehow inherently despicable, with a kind of senile silliness in the long thin nose near the end of which a pair of spectacles were perched. It resembled the face of a sheep, and the voice too had a sheep-like quality. Goldstein was delivering his usual venomous attack upon the doctrines of the party, an attack so exaggerated and perverse that a child should not have been able to see through it, and yet just plausible enough to fill one with an alarmed feeling that other people less level-headed than oneself might be taken in by it. He was abusing Big Brother. He was denouncing the dictatorship of the party. He was demanding the immediate conclusion of peace with Eurasia. He was advocating freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, freedom of thought. He was crying hysterically that the revolution had been betrayed. And all this in a rabid, polysyllabic speech, which was a sort of parody of the habitual style of the orators of the party, and even contained newspeak words, more newspeak words indeed than any party member would normally use in real life, and all the while, lest one should be in any doubt as to the reality which Goldstein's specious claptrap covered, behind his head on the telescreen there marched the endless columns of the Eurasian army, row after row of solid-looking men with expressionless, Asiatic faces, who swam up to the surface of the screen and vanished, to be replaced by others exactly similar. The dull, rhythmic trap of the soldiers' boots formed the background to Goldstein's bleeding voice. Before the hate had proceeded for 30 seconds, uncontrollable exclamations of rage were breaking out from half of the people in the room. The self-satisfied sheep-like face on the screen and the terrifying power of the Eurasian army behind it were too much to be borne. Beside, the sight or even the thought of Goldstein produced fear and anger automatically. He was an object of hatred more constant than either Eurasia or Eastasia, since when Oceania was at war with one of these powers, it was generally at peace with the other. But what was strange was that although Goldstein was hated and despised by everybody, although every day and 1,000 times a day on platforms, on the telescreen, in newspapers, in books, his theories were refuted, smashed, ridiculed, held up to the general gaze for the pitiful rubbish that they were. In spite of all this, his influence never seemed to grow less. Although there were fresh dupes waiting to be seduced by him, a day never passed when spies and saboteurs acting under his directions were not unmasked by the thought police. He was the commander of a vast shadowy army, an underground network of conspirators dedicated to the overthrow of the state. The Brotherhood, its name was supposed to be. There were also whispered stories of a terrible book, a commendum, I said that wrong, hold on, a compendium of all the heresies of which Goldstein was the author and which circulated clandestinely here and there. It was a book without a title. People referred to it, if at all, simply as the book. But no one knew of such things, only through vague rumors. Neither the Brotherhood nor the book was a subject that any ordinary party member would mention if there was a way of avoiding it. This Goldstein guy seems like he's really just advocating for the freedom of all, and he got turned into the world's worst villain for it, which is low-key kind of crazy. It didn't say when he was executed, though, and when this happened. I would like to know how long ago from when this book is being, like, when this book takes place that this Goldstein guy was killed. I would like to know how long it's been. Maybe it will tell me, who knows. In its second minute, the hate rose to a frenzy. People were leaping up and down in their places and shouting at the tops of their voice in an effort to drown the maddening, bleeding voice that came from the screen. The little sandy-haired woman had turned bright pink, and her mouth was opening and shutting like that of a landed fish. Even O'Brien's heavy face was flushed. He was sitting very straight in his chair, his powerful chest swelling and quivering as though he were standing up to the assault of a wave. The dark-haired girl behind Winston had begun crying out, "Swine! Swine! Swine!" And suddenly she picked up a heavy Newspeak dictionary and flung it at the screen. It struck Goldstein's nose and bounced off. The voice continued, inexorably. In a lucid moment, Winston found that he was shouting with the others and kicking his heel violently against the rung of his chair. The horrible thing about the 2 minutes hate was not that one was obliged to act a part, but that it was impossible to avoid joining in. Without 30 seconds, any pretense was always unnecessary. A hideous ecstasy of fear and vindictiveness, a desire to kill, to torture, to smash faces in with a sledgehammer seemed to flow through the whole group of people like an electric current, turning one, even against one's will, into a grimacing, screaming lunatic. January 16th, 2026, in 1 hour. Are you being serious? He was executed then? Are you being serious? No, because this takes place in 1984. So it couldn't be. It couldn't be. That wouldn't be when he was executed. It's a time traveler. Is he? Is he actually? Wait, did you just spoil the book for me? You just spoiled my book. Dude, that's okay. It's alright. It's alright. Caught. Caught, dude. Caught. Alright, where was I? Alright. And yet the rage that one felt was an abstract, undirected emotion which could be switched from one subject to another like the flame of a blow lamp. Thus, at one moment, Winston's hatred was not turned against Goldstein at all, but on the contrary against Big Brother, the party, and the thought police. And at such moments his heart went out to the lonely, derided heretic on the screen, sole guardian of truth and sanity in a world of lies. And yet the very next instant, he was at one with the people about him, and all that was said of Goldstein seemed to him to be true. At those moments, his secret loathing of Big Brother changed into adoration, and Big Brother seemed to tower up, an invincible, fearless protector, standing like a rock against the hordes of Asia and Goldstein, in spite of his isolation, his helplessness, and the doubt that hung around his very existence seemed like some sinister enchanter, capable by the mere power of his voice of wrecking the structure of civilization. Alright. So, we have here Winston's having some doubts about Big Brother, but every time he looks back at the screen, he's filled back with the incessant anger directed at Goldstein because that's what he's been hard programmed to do his whole life. Interesting. So he's got some rebellion in him, so he might be the next Goldstein. It was even possible at moments to switch one's hatred this way or that by a voluntary act. Suddenly, by the sort of violent effort with which one wrenches one's head away from the pillow in a nightmare, Winston succeeded in transferring his hatred from the face on the screen to the dark-haired girl behind him. Vivid, beautiful hallucinations flashed through his mind. He would flog her to death with a rubber truncheon. He would tie her to a stake and shoot her full of arrows like Saint Sebastian. He would cut her throat at the moment. Oh, no. Oh. Oh. I'm gonna ignore this paragraph here, just because PG streamer. Oop. We're gonna ignore that. But basically, it's just a bunch of awful things that he wants to kill her with. The voice of Goldstein had become an actual sheep's bleat, and for an instant, the face changed into that of a sheep. Then the sheep face melted into the figure of a Eurasian soldier who seemed to be advancing, huge and terrible, his submachine gun roaring and seeming to spring out of the surface of the screen, so that some of the people in the front row actually flinched backwards in their seats. But in the same moment, drawing a deep sigh of relief from everybody, the hostile figure melted into the face of Big Brother. Black-haired, black-mustachioed, full of power and mysterious, calm, and so vast that it almost filled up the screen. Nobody heard what Big Brother was saying. It was merely a few words of encouragement, the sort of words that are uttered in the din of a battle, not distinguishable individually, but restoring confidence by the fact of being spoken. Then the face of Big Brother faded away again, and instead, the three slogans of the party stood out in bold capitals. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. It was nice hearing you read, but I'm gonna go now. Take care and enjoy your stream. Thank you, Economy. Have a good night. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. But the face of Big Brother seemed to persist for several seconds on the screen, as though the impact that it had made on everyone's eyeballs was too vivid to wear off immediately. The little sandy-haired woman had flung herself forward over the back of the chair in front of her, with a tremulous murmur that sounded like, "My savior!" She extended her arms toward the screen, then she buried her face in her hands. It was apparent that she was uttering a prayer. At this moment, the entire group of people broke into a deep, slow, rhythmical chant of "Bibi, Bibi, Bibi," over and over again, very slowly, with a long pause between the first B and the second. A heavy, murmurous sound, somehow curiously savage in the background of which one seemed to hear the stamp of naked feet and the throbbing of tom-toms. For perhaps as much as 30 seconds they kept it up. It was a refrain that was often heard in moments of overwhelming emotion. Partly it was a sort of hymn to the wisdom and majesty of Big Brother. But still, more it was an act of self-hypnosis, a deliberate drowning of consciousness by means of its rhythmic noise. Winston's entrails seemed to grow cold. In the 2 minutes' hate, he could not help Sharping. He could not help sharing in the general delirium, but this subhuman chanting of BB, BB, always filled him with horror. Of course he chanted with the rest. It was impossible to do otherwise. To disassemble your feelings, to control your face, to do what everyone else was doing, was an instinctive reaction. But there was a space of a couple of seconds during which the expression in his eyes might conceivably have betrayed him, and it was exactly at this moment that the significant thing happened, if indeed it did happen. Momentarily he caught O'Brien's eye. O'Brien had stood up, he had taken off his spectacles, and was in the act of resettling them on his nose with his characteristic gesture. But there was a fraction of a second when their eyes met, and for as long as it took to happen, Winston knew, yes, he knew, that O'Brien was thinking the same thing as himself. An unmistakable message had passed. It was as though their two minds had opened and the thoughts were flowing from one into the other through their eyes. I am with you, O'Brien seemed to be saying to him. I know precisely what you are feeling. I know all about your contempt, your hatred, your disgust. But don't worry, I am on your side. And then the flash of intelligence was gone, and O'Brien's face was as inscrutable as everybody else's. That was all, and he was already uncertain whether it had happened. Such incidents never had any sequel. All that they did was to keep him alive, in him the belief and hope that others besides him were the enemies of the party. Perhaps the rumors of vast underground conspiracies were true after all. Perhaps the Brotherhood really existed. It was impossible, in spite of the endless arrests and confessions and executions, to be sure that the Brotherhood was not simply a myth. Some days he believed in it, some days not. There was no evidence, only fleeting glimpses that might mean anything or nothing. Snatches of overheard conversation, faint scribbles on laboratory walls. Once, even, when two strangers met, a small movement of the hands which had looked as though it might be a signal of recognition. It was all guesswork. Very likely he had imagined everything. He had gone back to his cubicle without looking at O'Brien again. The idea of following up their momentary contract hardly crossed his mind. It would have been inconceivably dangerous, even if he had known how to set about doing it. For a second, 2 seconds, they had exchanged an equivocal glance, and that was the end of the story. But even that was a memorable event in the locked loneliness in which one had to live. Winston roused himself and sat up straighter. He let out a belch. The gin was rising from his stomach. Is he drinking at work? Did he drink this gin at work, or is it at his house? I'm confused now. That's normal? Drinking at work is normal? Is it? I don't know about that. I don't know if drinking gin at your cubicle desk job is normal. If that's normal for you, maybe you need a new job. His eyes refocused on the page. He discovered that while he sat helplessly musing, he had also been writing, as though by automatic action, and it was no longer the same cramped, awkward handwriting as before. His pen had slid voluptuously over the smooth paper, printing in large, neat capitals, "Down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother," over and over again, filling half a page. He could not help feeling a twinge of panic. It was absurd, since the writing of those particular words was not more dangerous than the initial act of opening the diary. But for a moment, he was tempted to tear out the spoiled pages and abandon the enterprise altogether. But he did not do so, however, because he knew that it was useless. Whether he wrote "Down with Big Brother" or whether he refrained from writing it made no difference. Whether he went on with the diary or whether he did not go on with it made no difference. The thought police would get him just the same. He had committed, would still have committed, even if he had never set pen to paper, the essential crime that contained all others in itself. Thought crime, they called it. Thought crime was not a thing that could be concealed forever. You might dodge successfully for a while, even for years, but sooner or later they were bound to get you. It was always at night. The arrests invariably happened at night. The sudden jerk out of sleep, the rough hand shaking your shoulders, the light glaring in your eyes, the ring of hard faces round the bed. In the vast majority of cases, there was no trial, no report of the arrest. People simply disappeared. Always during the night, your name was removed from the registers. Every record of everything you had ever done was wiped out. Your one-time existence was denied and then forgotten. You were abolished, annihilated, vaporized was the usual word. For a moment, he was seized by a kind of hysteria. He began writing in a hurried, untidy scrawl. They'll shoot me. I don't care. They'll shoot me in the back of the neck. I don't care. Down with Big Brother. They always shoot you in the back of the neck. I don't care. Down with Big Brother. He sat back in his chair, slightly ashamed of himself, and laid down his pen. The next moment, he started violently. There was a knocking at his door. Already? He sat as still as a mouse, in the futile hope that whoever it was might go away after a single attempt. But no, the knocking was repeated. The worst thing of all would be to delay. His heart was thumping like a drum, but his face from long habit was probably expressionless. He got up and moved heavily towards the door. Alright, that's the end of the first chapter, guys. Look how far we got into that book. Look at that. So, someone's at his door. It's either the thought police, or it could be some unknown person. But I have a feeling it's probably not the thought police, because if he died, the book would not be that long. If he immediately died, the book would not be that long. But I hope you guys enjoyed my little reading. I do think that like this might be a regular thing for just chatting streams, not for like all of my streams. I'm not gonna read every stream, but when I do a just chatting stream here and there, maybe I'll do that. We'll see. Oh, this is a very upbeat song for now. I was not planning on having an upbeat song. I was looking for something a little more chill, preferably. This isn't... Okay, hold on. This is probably better. Alright. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. I did. It was very different from what I usually do, and I appreciate that. I love doing things that are different, you know? Books. So, I think we'll read another chapter next time I do a just chatting stream. I've kind of gotten into a little bit of a flow lately with like my stream schedule. So I've done like one stream where I do something new, one stream where I do Subnautica, and one just chatting stream. And that's kind of like my flow lately. Depends on what day I do it, obviously, and sometimes it varies, but that's kind of like what I will be doing. You know? I think Micah's doing streamer awards today, if I'm correct. Should we raid Micah, or should we find someone new? What do you think? Let's check the similar and smaller size category. Does anyone have any suggestions, first of all, as to who I should raid? I would love to hear your suggestions. I would love to hear. Kaisenat quit streaming, guys. Kaisenat quit streaming. Oh man. Wouldn't that be funny if I tried to raid Kaisenat? I doubt he's even got like raids under 1,000 viewers turned on. I doubt it. That was fun though. I enjoy reading out loud. It's quite nice. There is a furry here. Oh, okay. Alright. Interesting. Who should we raid? I don't know, man. Someone said I'm ready to go fight for Greenland? Okay. Alright, whatever you say, girl. Asian Pancake is live. I know Asian Pancake. Should I raid Asian Pancake? Oh, bro's got maybe the worst quality camera on right now. I think he's on his phone. Never mind, maybe we don't raid Asian Pancake. No one have any suggestions other than Kaisenat? Oh man. Kaisenat is crazy, dude. The just chatting category is just like so hard to raid into because you can't like sort by low viewers. Anyone live? You can't sort by low viewers. It's a little annoying. I'll probably just raid someone that I'm following. Should we raid Ronan or Micah? What do you guys think? Ronan or Micah? Minor Mom is also live though. I love Minor Mom. Should we raid Minor Mom? This is Minor Mom. She's like a older lady who plays Minecraft. She's so nice. Should we raid her? She's got a lot more viewers than I do, but that's okay, right? That's totally fine. Oh man, that's a little scary. Should I do it? She's finishing up an abandoned gas station. You know what? Why not? Let's do it. I'm gonna bring up the courage to do it. But first, we're gonna make a raid message, okay? We're gonna make a raid message first, because if I'm gonna do a raid, I gotta at least have some hype in there, you know? I gotta have some hype in there. I'm typing one up. Hold on. I'm just gonna Control C, Control V, Control V. All right. Copy this up. Don't spam it, but copy it up. We're gonna get some hype in Minor Mom's chat, but not too much because she's kind of chill. So just a little bit of hype, just the right amount of hype. Thank you guys for watching. As always, join my Discord, follow my Twitter for updates on my streams. I will be putting out my stream schedule for next week on Sunday or on like Saturday. Sometimes depends on what I'm doing those days. But tomorrow I'm going to my grandma's to stay there while my mom goes car shopping. So maybe I'll make a schedule then. We'll see. We'll see. I'm still editing my YouTube video. I'm working on that. Milk Bar is working behind the scenes. I'm probably also gonna edit some clips of today, but have a good night, guys. I'll see you next Monday, and go show Minor Mom some love. Good night.